This is Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty. Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty.
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome to the Soul Voices Show. And I'm GriffinGamingRPG, and I'm back today with my good friend and co-host, who hasn't been here in a little while, Fastcart FC. How are you, bud?
It's the OG crew, right?
It's the OG.
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, the old graybeards is what it is, right?
Basically.
The old guys. Yeah, how you been, man?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Yeah, okay. You surviving IAE?
Yeah, I'm surviving Black Friday, too.
Oh, yeah, awesome. Well, guys,
it seems like it's been forever since I last saw you. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, just 24 hours. Yeah, it's good to see everybody here. I hope you guys are having a great week, especially with IAE going on. Please forgive me. I'm at a different location today, so I know there may be some background noise. Fastcart, is that loud or is it okay? Is it tolerable? Background noise.
I don't hear anything, so
that's even
it's
better.
tolerable to me.
That's even better. Okay, good. I'm gonna have to be paranoid about that. Yeah, how about you, IAE this week? We're wrapping up. We're on the last day as far as manufacturers go, but the IAE is still going to extend for a few more days, I think till the 30th. So how have you been doing with it so far?
I managed to go in every day. I might have been late on Miss Day yesterday, but hopefully I got the badge and everything. I rented the ship, so it should be fine. But yeah, I managed to make it to every day and check out some ships. I mean, it's not much different from the previous IAE, but you know, it's still good to make the round.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? You can hear me okay now, right?
Yeah.
No?
Yes, I can hear you. You don't hear me? I'm talking. I can hear you. No, I don't hear you now.
Where did my audio go?
There you go. Now I can hear you.
Fastcart, give me a test real quick, an audio test. I'm not hearing you.
Test 1, 2, 3. Check, baby. Check, baby. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
I hear you.
How about now, Fastcart?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Do you hear me?
I hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, sorry about that. I've got a weird remote thing over here. Yeah. What was I was about to say something about.
I'm making it every day. You're logging in every day.
Yeah, I forgot. I lost track. See, my technical thing here threw me off.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say something about. Oh, I know what it was. I was going to ask you, what did you think about the motif? You know, even though we're back at the Tobin Center, what do you think about what they did with the motif this year? You know, with Drake.
I love the red color.
Yeah.
Red is my favorite color, so I obviously love it. As a matter of fact, it's going to be tempting for me not to get the ship, to get the red skin, the best in show skin from tomorrow. And I guess it's tomorrow till the 30th or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see.
I was walking through the lobby and I told some guys the other day, I said, if you guys get a chance, just zoom in on the rug. And if you haven't done it, take a look at the carpeting in the main lobby before you get to the elevators. It's
Mm,
another one of those weird things about the detail that CIG puts in the game. Everybody just kind of runs through the lobby because they're wanting to go see the convention. But
you're
me,
right.
my OCD self, I have to look at every little nook and cranny
I,
in the
I
game.
I saw someone on the floor. Maybe the screenshot or video or something on the floor. So I have seen the rug.
Yeah.
It's like an old school, not shag, but yeah.
Yeah. No, it's been very, very cool. I didn't get to check. Did I check everything? I did get to miss yesterday. I haven't gone for RSI today. I'll try to find some time this evening to swing by for that. Did you do any damage? Did you spend any money?
I spent credits.
Good.
I got the modules for my second endeavor.
Oh, you did. Okay. But did you get
Yeah,
all of them or certain ones?
not all of them. I got the one that I want. I got the science, the research, and the telescope.
Oh, okay. You'll make Jade
And I'm
happy.
not su-
You'll make Jade
and
happy saying that.
and I'm not sure if they can all fit on one endeavor, but hey, we'll see.
Yeah. I did the same thing. I did a melt. What did I do? I melted my Saber Comet. I realized I
Okay.
really had not been flying it very much recently, and so I melted that for the what's it called? The A1, Crusaders A1,
Hmm.
and because I'd already gotten the E1 when that came out, and then I did a melt today uh, for the Galaxy. So I
Oh,
did
you
the
did get the
Galaxy.
galaxy.
I was debating on whether I was going to do it because I was vacillating back and forth about the Apollo,
Mm.
and I just opted to go ahead and go that route. Plus, it's a smaller. I shouldn't say I had no subcaps, none. The biggest thing on my working account was
Okay, I
probably
was gonna say.
the reclaimer. Yeah, probably the reclaimer,
Yeah,
and that's in a whole different category with
that's big.
salvage and all that stuff. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So, but I didn't have anything on a military fighting level. In fact, the Comet, the Saber Comet, and the Raven were no, I take that back. I do have some other stuff. I have bombers. That's what I
Hmm.
have. I have bombers. So I
I,
decided to
I,
step
I,
up to a subcap.
I should probably say this for tomorrow, but I did not make the same mistake I did this year. I did last year with the Odyssey. I did not get the Galaxy as an impulse buy.
Okay, good,
so
good, good.
so I'm thinking about getting a CCU for the Galaxy, but I'm not really sure if I need more information. I'm gonna wait for
Yeah.
the Q&A this time.
The CC, I think it'd be smart because it's boy, so hard to project. CIG is saying they want to get back into the whole modularity thing,
Hmm.
but we still haven't got our first example of that. And we know that the Retaliator was on the board. They had started working on that, but they pulled people from it. So, I guess it's still a matter of let's see when it happens, right? Once
Yeah,
we start
I'm
rolling
not
it out.
expecting to see this ship for a long time.
Yeah. And I figure right now, it was a melt, so I got it right now because I got the 10-year on it and everything else. And I can always melt it and buy back the stuff I want if I want to, but I just wanted to get it in the hangar to have for later. But I didn't do any fresh cash. I've stayed away from fresh cash.
I
Well,
didn't get
I
the
don't
fresh
have any fresh
cash.
cash to do either, but it's the other thing too. Things are really tight for me right now, so I couldn't do fresh cash if I
I mean, I
wanted to.
could do fresh cash, but it'll be on credit, so I don't want to do that to
Well,
myself.
you could. I can't. Well, I could. I'm not doing credit. Yeah, I've never really done
Yeah,
credit.
exactly.
So anyway,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and jump into it because we've got a lot of wonderful people here hanging out with us today on the holiday weekend, and we are kind of theming this show a little bit around IAE. So we hope you guys can hang out with us here and see what we're going to be talking about. The first topic that we're doing is a post that I saw, FC. This was in Spectrum, and it was titled Expo title by Arqitect. I think this is our friend Architect who hangs out and watches with us. What's the story behind this? Um, as you guys know, a lot of stuff with Star Citizen is based on lore. And the lore team has been writing, man, from the almost from the very beginning. They've been putting out bits and pieces, building up the Galactopedia, sharing with us through the newsletters and on the website and communication what the Star Citizen world is supposed to be about. And for those of you who've been to the convention, you guys saw the Expo title this year is The War at Home. And people kind of thought it was kind of interesting because Drake was the big sponsor this year. Normally they have not been the sponsor. There's the whole, like you said, fastcart, the whole red theme them, right? Red kind of
Mm-hmm.
signifies some things. And so Architect says, what's the story behind this? Now, I'm not necessarily trying to answer his question, but maybe this will answer his question, or their question, I should say. As many of you all know, Drake has a reputation for being the supplier to some of the more scoundrels of the verse.
That's
Those people,
reputable.
unlawful, yeah, less reputable. We'll say it. That's a very nice way of saying it, Fastcart. Thank you. The more less reputable folks in the Star Citizen universe, and quite often even people will say they're the ones who supply for pirates. But we do know that pirates will utilize whatever ship is available. The reason why that people go with Drake in particular in the lore is because Drake's ships are easily accessible to get. They're kind of a generic ship as well. They don't stand out per se. Repairs on them is supposed to be much more moderate in the sense of being able to get parts, things of that nature. And so therefore, quite often they say that the pirates, that's their go-to ship. There's also a little bit of the lore and the history, and we shared this a little bit last week on our show. There's a lore aspect to them too, that they did try to, let's say, do legitimate business, right? Fastcart, they tried to do legitimate business with the UEE, but their ships were rejected.
Right.
And because of that, they said, well, listen, we put this R&D and research in to make these ships. If we don't sell them to you guys for military, we will sell them to the consumers. Now, of course,
Mm-hmm. Civilian,
that's
yeah.
yeah. So here you go, right? The consumers. I'm the civilians. Thank you, Fastcart. So they'll sell them to the civilians. Now, of course, there's a little itch there. The UEE doesn't like that because you're putting military grade stuff, even if it's the consumer
Well, it's
version.
their fault. They should have bought them.
Right? They're putting that stuff into the hands of regular people, and that kind of
Mm-hmm.
irritated the UEE. And so, whether the UEE was the one to kind of badmouth them because of it, or whether just over time that became a factor, but that's kind of like the background to that whole thing, okay? And so, this idea of the war at home comes out. And then there's always, as you guys know, there's been a little bit disputing between the Drake company and like Invictus, right? They've always had their like day where they're by themselves. They have their own Expo, right? Because the
Great day. Great
UEE,
con.
yeah,
Great con.
DrakeCon, because the UEE ain't digging them and they not letting them come and do their thing. So they set up their own convention at a separate part of at the facility, and it's DrakeCon, like you said, FC. All right, so Defense Con. Thank you, Defense Con,
Defense con.
Redbeard.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Defense
Thank
Con.
you.
We had the D right. Okay, Defense Con. Okay. Okay. All right, y'all. So here's the question. Before we open the doors, we don't have anybody waiting in the room, do we? Nobody's waiting down there yet. Am I?
Not yet.
Okay,
Not
not
yet.
yet. Okay, well, we'll see if anybody wants to talk about this.
Oh, there you go.
Now,
Pop,
Pops,
pop
how you gonna
show.
come in here? You don't even know what we talking about yet, but that's okay. Pops say I'm getting the jump on everybody. Okay, so here's the thing that we want to ask you guys and get your opinion on. Okay, so hope you can follow me. Science
Hey,
fiction.
architect.
Science fiction. Oh, Architect's here. Oh, cool. Hey, Architect. Yeah, we got you. Yeah, this is. Oh, is your question, Architect? If this is you, let us know because we were wondering if this was you. Okay, so here's the question. Science fiction, historically. Okay, Architect, great. Science fiction has used story to reflect current history and the issues that exist within current history. Mr. Fastcart and I were talking about the episode of Star Trek. I can't think of the name of it now, but there was the episode where
Oh, let that be your last.
let that be your last battlefield. Thank you.
Battlefield, thank
Fastcart.
you.
Good man. I remembered Battlefield once you got it started. Okay, let that be your last
Yeah.
battlefield. Great episode.
Between the two of us together, we get it.
We get it, right? The two old guys in the room. For those of you who've never watched the original series, okay, there's an episode where there's these two characters. One of them is they have a split colored face. One is black on the left and one is white, and he's white on the right. And the other guy is white on the right, left, and black on the right. They're reversed of each other. And they're at constant battle with each other. They're fighting. And when you watch the episode, all you know is that these two guys are fighting, and you don't really catch on to what's going on. And then I think Frank Gorshin is the actor who says, "Well, don't you understand what the difference is between us?" And they said, "No, you guys look the same. You're left on, you're black on one side and brown on the other." He says, "No, he's black on the right. I'm black on the left." And at that time, they were using that as a point of talking about racism and talking about how something as simple as, even though they both were 50-50, black and white, but because one was one side and one was the other, they had this hatred toward each other that just came out of, I guess, nowhere, other than, and for no other reason than the fact that they look different. And so science fiction was being used to talk about that. There was another episode, I don't know if you're not, this is, I'll try to tap your memory again. It was the episode with this guy, Lazarus, who came in from another universe point. And
Antimatter.
you remember that? Yes, yes,
Yeah, I do.
yes. Remember that?
I don't remember the title. I
And
remember it.
one guy was much more aggressive, and the other guy was much more kind of mild-mannered and calm. And they would have these conflicts. And when they would have these conflicts, it was matter, the guy from the matter universe colliding with the guy from the antimatter universe. And as you guys
And
know,
and
go ahead.
and the important thing is, if they collide outside of this tunnel, outside of this corridor, the both universes would be destroyed. Mutually assured destruction.
Mutual destruction, exactly. So and so there was a message being sent there too about how ultimately you could have people who are from very different extremes or differences and they could collide, but if you weren't careful, both would be destroyed. So here's the question for the day, gang. This idea of the war at home, is CIG randomly picking that because it's cool and it's based around the lore in the game, or are they subconsciously telling us to think about what's going on in the world right now? You guys know that over in Iran, if I'm not mistaken, there's a huge upheaval with the people there because of the role of women in their country. We know about the war that's going over in Ukraine right now with Russia, and then even things happening here in the United States. Do you think that's what CIG is doing, or do you think that even the game space is a place to do it? A lot of times people say, well, we're playing games, we're kind of trying to leave that world behind and escape, and I get that. Trust me, one of the reasons why I come to games is because I want to be able to find some place to relax and not have to think too heavily. But then again, when we go to those movies, when we watch those TV programs, when we play a game, do these things kind of help? Do they kind of get us to focus, or do we ignore them and act as if they don't exist, and stay in our little bubble world? What do you guys think? Okay, so we know Pops was the first one in. Let's bring Pops in and we'll get his 2 cents on this. Pops, you there?
Yeah, yes, Sam. Oh, you didn't have.
Pops is the third OG. How you doing, buddy?
All right, all right. It's what we know. The fighting. It's the way in which we bring excitement in game because you have to have a reason to shoot at something else.
Mm.
I mean, unless you use tranquilizer guns, but that's not as fun. So they have to cater to that part of our brain that says that that's what makes something fun. Now, to me, which is why I am not a PvP because I don't like shooting at people.
Right.
I don't. I'm not a PvPer. I don't like that whole aspect of it. But I will shoot at in my mind, what's not a real person. Because I'm not really into, I got you, I got you, I got you, yeah, I killed you. And then what's that little thing they do over top of people where they
We get it, we
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Pops. We
Yeah.
get it. Okay.
yeah, so it's just not
Okay,
not
but
me.
Pops, I want to keep this focused now because I'm talking about the theme of the expo. The expo talked about the war at home. Okay, I don't want to get into a PvP discussion because that'll take us down a whole nother
Yeah.
road.
Oh yeah.
I'm talking about this aspect of the question the architect says is what's the story behind this? And I gave you both the lore story, but I also
Mhm.
questioned about whether or not this has to do with what's going on in the world as well. Should we, as gamers, is it okay to enter those conversations because science fiction is often being used as a social conscious statement of telling people what's going on, or is it something that we depart from in gaming?
Absolutely, it is a. I mean, it's you're absolutely right. Science has been used to expand our mind and what we do, and the whole purpose behind that is that are we wasting our time killing each other when we could be learning something?
Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
We're supposed to say, knowledge is what makes us a better society.
Hmm.
So that's what our focus should be on,
Okay.
which my point was, but how do you separate I don't want to say animal, because that
You mean
can
the
be
instinct of
yeah,
doing
the
bad
animal
things? Hmm.
right, doing bad things for the excitement, and then other people do things for that purpose.
Okay.
But absolutely, I think CIG is absolutely using all of it.
Okay.
Not just that,
Okay.
but
Fair
yeah.
enough. All right,
Uh,
Pops. Appreciate you
okay.
as always. First man
Thank you,
in. Thank
Pops.
you, man.
I didn't have to be first.
It's okay. Thanks. Okay. Next up, let me bring in. I don't know who is next because my light was blocking.
I don't know. I
I'll
didn't
bring in.
even.
I'll bring in Kai's in next. Okay. Kai, how are you? Let's see. Is he?
Hey,
Hey, there he is. How are you, man?
fantastic. How are you guys?
Good. 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 You got to hear my
Good.
big spiel, right? My sermon at the
Yep,
beginning.
100,
Okay.
100%. So
Okay.
first off, I think what Pop said was beautifully put. It absolutely, it's a thing. Storytelling, like so part of game creation, there's a couple of things you have to do. You have to get the mechanics. You have to like literally just make the mechanics of the whatever. And then you have to like do ongoing stuff with universe creation, whatever. But a huge chunk of it is storytelling. You want a compelling story, and that story is going to be what motivates your players to have like excitement to get in the verse and do things. And story comes from conflict. And
Mm,
as writers will tell you, all conflict is either
mhm,
man versus nature, or man versus self. It's
mhm,
literally, it boils down to just that.
mhm,
So I think your point is well made with it's interesting, where do all of these sort of themes fit? What should be off limits? Maybe for some people, they don't want anything
mhm,
remotely resembling politics or things that bum them out. In
mhm,
America right now,
mhm,
there's a whole there's cultural conflicts, and there's racial conflicts, and there's lots of feelings of whatever. And I can get for some people saying, "Hey man, no, I just want to play a video game. I'm going out in space. I want to leave that shit behind."
mhm,
But for other people, they see things like Xenothreat and whatever, and they see this as a very powerful and resonant story that is echoing like things that motivate them, that they feel passionate about and they want to whatever. So I agree with you. It's a weird thing, Griff, because it's like there's no right or wrong answer. It's like it's a recipe for making like a really good stew. You
mhm.
never know what's right or what's wrong. You just have to kind of feel it out. So
Yeah.
it's
You kind of a little bit of this, a little bit of
yeah.
that.
And sometimes you might feel like, oh, we went too far on this one. We bum people out, or oh, this or that or the other. And you have things where like movies or TV shows, like I forgot what TV show it was, but there was a show that they had a major arc written around like a pandemic thing.
Mhm,
And right after that, the pandemic, like the real pandemic, happened in our world.
Mm.
And they did a massive rewrite because they were like, whoops, that's too soon. It's gonna bum people out, whatever. So yeah, I don't really have an answer per se. I just have observations of like, yeah, this is interesting. I
Yeah,
feel like for the
kind of.
most part, they do a great job. CIG does a great
Well,
job.
then let me ask you this. Go ahead, Fastcart. I'm sorry.
Because that's not the first time that happened. Buffalo the Vampire Slayer had an episode about a school shooting, but
Yep.
just before the episode aired, they had Columbine, so they had to do a rewrite. So yeah, that does happen from time to time. Go ahead, Griffin.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, and I think Kai, I think your response is a good one. I guess my question is, I agree with you. I think there has to be this fine line, right? If you're making a statement, there has to be an aspect where what people would say is that you don't become preachy, right?
Hmm.
You can put it out there, and if people figure it out and they stumble that way, then fine. If people don't stumble that way, that's fine too, right? Because their objective is to tell a good story, right? Ultimately, and if we can learn something from those stories, great. And I'm not saying this is to bum people out. Someone put even in chat about China. I forgot about them. They have stuff going on over there
Oh
too.
yeah.
I'm just wondering whether or not, and only CIG will ever be able to tell us this, is CIG doing that right now? Because I'm saying science fiction has been known for finding those things to talk about within their medium. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Without saying it blatantly. And mind you, there's no resolve here. What
Mm-hmm.
CIG is doing, they're
Mm-hmm.
just saying this is what's going on right now. That's all they're doing, right? There's this conflict going on between Drake and
Mm-hmm.
UEE, and Drake is making their statement right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's all I'm just saying. Again, I'm not saying that they're trying to say anything about right, wrong, or anything. I'm just wondering whether they're using it as a medium, or it could just be strictly by chance, right?
Yep.
This might have they
Yep.
may have wrote this 5 years ago, You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like fastcart said, it was just a part of the plan. It just happened to land right now while all these different things are going
I
on
don't.
around the world. You know.
I think that no matter what CIG does or right, sometimes it's going to be some real world reference to someone will take from it, because I mean that's just the way things are. Like
Yeah.
I mean, people there's 7 billion people in the world. CIG can write something that that triggers or hint to someone out in the community that no one else will get or pick up on, because everyone has different experiences. So it may not be that they're doing it on purpose, but maybe they are doing it on purpose. But
Yeah.
And
yeah,
in the end, I think in the end, this is Chris Roberts' baby, and Chris Roberts is a storyteller. We know this. He's a film director. He's created entire worlds and told intricate stories through his games. So it is just going to be now with certain things. Of course, if you're dealing with themes of sexual assault or certain types of violence or certain really graphic things that could trigger people who have had really unfortunate experiences in your life, I think the company has a responsibility to have sort of some carefulness in how they address those themes. And I would think probably maybe it's a good idea to just avoid them altogether.
I mean
But
that's
like
what they're doing, because there's a reason that there's no children in the Star Citizen
100%.
universe.
Yeah. So certain things you have to have more sensitivity to, but I think Fastcart's point is absolutely correct. Of with a planet of 8 billion people, you never know. So long as you stay away from certain very obviously triggering things, you never know when you have a storyline where a character's dad dies and somebody might be like, "Oh my God, my dad just died yesterday, and I hit this part of the story. I was trying to escape everything." Like, and there's nothing CIG. There's nothing anyone can do about that. There's just certain things that are gonna happen, but within certain levels have some sensitivity, and then at the end just tell a good story. And part of that, like I said, it's always going to come back to conflict. That's inescapable.
Okay. I
All right,
appreciate that, Kai. Thank you, brother.
have a good
Always
one.
got some good stuff there. All right, let's bring in Fist to Face. Let's bring him in next. Fist, you there?
How you guys doing?
Hey,
All
buddy.
right.
Good. What's your
All
thoughts?
right.
I to listen to everybody else's things. I appreciate them. I do agree too. Um, I like to have a game that has things that make you think. Now I get it. Like the other flip side, some days you just want to come in and just want to relax, and you can do that in this game. You can just get out, get in your ship, go mine. I mean, you know, if you're doing it for just self value, just get up your capital, doesn't have to deal with the lore
Hmm.
unless it triggers an event.
Hmm.
Maybe
Uh-huh.
it's possible, but you know, I personally, back to my point though, I personally would like to see that, because most of the games that me and Pops have played, deals around with story, dealt with conflicts that have been in the world. Now, like Kai said, you can't get around certain events happening that could trigger some people, but of course, you can kind of stay away from the graphic parts of things that do happen in real life. But I would like to see, stuff that makes you feel uncomfortable, that makes you kind of have your stomach turn a little bit, give you that, wow, you know what I mean? Make that light bulb go off in, your head, sometimes, because that kind of, immerses you in something.
Okay.
And for me.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. Let me ask you a question. When you saw the
Hmm.
title, because Architect asked this question, what's the story behind this? When you saw the title, did that same kind of thing come to like, they got Drake first day and they talking about the war? This isn't Invictus, right? You know what I mean? This is IAE.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? If you saw this at Invictus, you'd be like, okay, I get it. But they did this at IAE. Did
Uh-huh.
it resonate with you, or was it like till later you started thinking about it?
You know what? I didn't start thinking about it till right now,
Okay, fair enough.
to
Cool,
be honest with you. You know
cool.
what I mean? Because I've just been preoccupied with so many other things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just, now that it's right there in front of me, I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what that is. All
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Fist. Appreciate that,
Thank
brother.
you.
Yeah, no
Good
problem.
stuff. Good stuff
Thank
as
you.
always from Fist to Face. All right. Let's bring in Red Baron. Bear One. Red Bear One. Red, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you
Hey,
hear
how
me?
are you? Yes, we can hear you.
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah, I'm doing fine.
Good.
Well, let's focus on the question. The Expo title.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to tell people how it actually started out as.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you know this as well. Back in the Arena Commander time, we had Jax as well, and I think one of his first appearances is with the M50 and the 350R that they raised.
Mm-hmm.
Can you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of went from there. The snowballed. Uh,
His popularity.
yeah, that was
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Um, yeah, and I think they did. I think in Hurston, the first expo, as far as I can remember,
Mm-hmm.
and I think people liked it so much that they keep doing every year now this expo. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great thing. And then about the title, yeah, I thought was more the title because of the Invictus Drake. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
because every time when the Invictus was almost done, the defense con came online, and
Mm-hmm.
that's also who's going to protect you when the UEE is gone.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I thought the title was coming from.
Yeah, that's good.
mm.
That's good. Good point. Because that was their thing, right? Like, yeah, when
Yes,
you ain't there, can you defend yourself, right? Who's gonna help you, right?
Right.
That's good. That's good.
exactly.
That's good. Yeah,
So
Red.
I think
Mhm.
I think it's actually nothing more than that.
Okay.
It's just this.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what we were saying earlier. Kai was saying, everybody will come away with something. You know what I mean? Their
Yeah,
thing. Some people won't think about it at all, right? All they do is just, I want to see my
Mm-hmm.
ship. That's
yeah,
it,
Mm.
right? That's all
yeah.
that's going to matter, right?
I,
But no, that's a
I
good
thought-
point. I'm glad you
I think
highlighted that.
I think 90% of the people will think like, hey, new ship.
Mhm.
Let's be honest,
Mm.
right? And we have a lot of new people like,
Yeah.
oh, rent ship,
Yeah.
rent ship, rent all the ships and try it. Yeah.
Okay, Red. Thank you, man.
Thank
All
Yep.
you.
right. Appreciate that. All right. Last but not least, we'll bring in Admiral Kusanagi and then we'll jump to our next topic. Admiral, you there?
Yes, sir, I am.
Good, good, good. What you got?
Uh, you're an alien lover.
I am?
Join the
Zeno
Xeno
threat.
threat. Yeah, Fastcart's got it.
Ooh, what about the Xeno threat? I missed that.
Xeno
What?
threat. You're an alien lover. You better, if you're not an alien lover, you better join the Xeno threat so you can
Oh,
fight
is that what the
fight for
deal
the humanity.
is? Okay, is that what it
You should
is?
fight for humanity. You should
Oh,
be.
see, you're going
And
down the road now because that's a real political thing there.
Mhm.
well,
Don't.
speaking of political, there's four. If you just looked at the stuff, there's like four political. Instead of Democrat, Republican, there's like four of them. Imagine how bad that's going to be. So yeah, I think the way Drake has had to push their um, their marketing
Mhm.
is saying this is not a safe place. There's not stuff going around, and there's like aliens are good, bad. You don't know no one. I mean, just humanity doesn't know who's good or bad just by opening the front door.
Mhm.
And we have enough issues as it is now, whether we have a white face on one side and a black face on the other side. At least you know who's on which side you're on.
Mhm.
And then you think about the aliens, and I was listening to you guys, and I thought, like, you know what? What about like District 9? District 9
Mm.
was set in a location. You talked about apartheid. You saw things in there that dealt with testing on aliens, live and deceased and figuring stuff out. So maybe there's people gonna be like, I want to kill a couple Banu so I could put them on my Endeavor to study them, and we have already seen like human harvesting in some pictures and stuff like that from like Pyro or elsewhere. So yeah, the war at home is pretty true. Like, we're fighting people outside the border, but fighting just as much inside the border, because
If not more.
yeah, because we're just not sure where we stand. Like, you might stand right here, but the person across the street from you might be like completely opposite.
Mhm.
So are they playing on our fears? Sure they are, but I mean it's not like it's not based in reality, and at least at the setting that SIG is posing to us.
Interesting, interesting. Now, you
Mm.
mentioned about loving aliens, and I guess there's if you go into the Lower Star Citizen, you've got the aspects of the Tavaran who have been brought into the UEE, some of whom want to assimilate and become a part of that. others who don't. They want to hold on to the traditions and the values of being Tavaran, right? Then you have those who we do negotiate with or have partnership with, like for example the Xi'an or the Banu, right? Who we consider to be more along the lines of friendly, not invasive per se. And so, again, that's why I ask, is science fiction reflecting, which it often does do historically, reflect what's really going on in the world? Even though you mentioned about Drake, I don't think Drake has a thing against aliens. I don't think that's the push that they're pushing for.
No, that's not, I don't think that they think that, but they understand that there is that space is not safe, and that people should have the ability, like the Second Amendment.
Let me push back on that. Is it that space is not safe, or is it that safe being that space being that safe is profitable? Now, I'm pushing that argument out because quite often there are people who benefit and profit from that type of statement, that ultimately it's about them making their bottom line and their dollar. Is Drake about making a bottom line and a dollar because they couldn't do it? And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. Hey, I've got to make money to survive. I have no problem with that. Got to make credits, right? But what I'm saying is quite often what's also behind the scenes, beyond fighting for what you believe in and freedom and liberty, blah, 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 there's also those who are basically pocketing and making money on themselves on that same statement. And those who are having the war at home aren't benefiting. So that's another side of the coin. And I know I'm going deep, y'all. I'm trying to keep this as generic as possible because the scenario I'm mentioning is not based around the United States. It could be anywhere. Greed and money motivate a lot of people with war. And so it's just something to think about.
If space was peaceful, other than just like the
why
threat of
isn't
dying
space
in a
peaceful?
vacuum.
Tell me why space isn't peaceful. Who's the most dangerous people in space? You tell me. Right now in the game.
Right now in the game, pirates.
Wrong. Yeah, what? And what are they? Human?
Yes.
Yeah. It's us. It's us. We're the ones who are most dangerous in the universe right now. In the game right now. I'm not saying that we don't have a common enemy other than what's been said in general. Right. We don't have a common enemy.
But I'm using the xenothreat thing to say this is like humanity against humanity, like a group of humanity having issues with other humans because they might think that supporting Asians or something like, I'm saying, like, if I bring it to today's level is like a bad thing. So this is, they're like blowing up Orison and stuff like that. So this is a problem. So like if they're going into space, and people should feel like protected enough to do what they got to do in a dangerous environment. The environment itself is just dangerous, by itself. And then the fact is they're saying, with Drake, you're able to protect yourself and protect your job. So that's all. I'm just going with that.
Okay, sorry, I had to mute my mic for a second. I hear you, Admiral. Let's have a post show on this one. I got some good stuff on this one. Okay?
I blame you for this conversation.
Okay, Admiral, thank you.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, I have a few final thoughts before.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. No, please do. Go ahead.
So I was writing this while Admiral Chris and I were talking. I say we are not trapped in space with the Van Jewel. The Van Jewel are trapped in space with us. and I wonder if I bet if the CIG writers or the writers listen or watch this later on, they're probably thinking that we were reading way too much into this.
Yeah. Okay. No, I know. I mean, and again, it was dependent. It was intended to be a thought-provoking question. Again, I'm not saying CIG is pushing. I don't think they're preaching. I'm just saying, I was just noticing the parallels in science fiction, that in science fiction, quite often they use story to relate to things that we are going through in real life. And sometimes it's very easy. You and I both know you can watch a Twilight Zone episode and sit there and enjoy the entertainment. And quite often they are telling there's a bottom, you know what I mean? There's some underlying story that they're trying, or point they're trying to make. And our question is that what's happening here too?
And you brought up the point about Star Trek back in the 60s. I mean, in my opinion, Star Trek still does that. They do that with Discovery and Picard.
All the shows.
Star Trek is still doing that.
Every one of those shows they've done that. Mm-hmm.
And my final thought is, did we answer the Arqitect question?
I did.
The Arqitect.
He might have got here afterward. I don't know if he was here when I first opened it up, but I did elaborate on it. Arqitect, if you're still there, give us a shout. Let us know, did you hear my lore and talking about all that stuff about the Expo title? And if not, I'm sure somebody in the post probably answered it anyway because it was his post on Spectrum. So, okay, let's go ahead and jump into our next one. And I'm going to end up, once I introduce this, I've got to step away for a minute, okay?
Okay.
Let's see, I got to find my buttons here. I'm not using my Stream Deck, so I have to do everything manually today. Okay. Fastcart, you can handle this one without me once I get it done here. All right, gang. This one was also on Spectrum. Limited ship sale is BS by Kaydin. Okay, so this is what Kaydin says, and I'm sure you guys will have some thoughts about this one as well. It's BS. There's a big chance that I won't be able to buy the ship I want, and that's ridiculous. I spent hours waiting to get a Kraken and gone before I could make an order. Tried 3 times today, and I've been trying to get one for over a year now, but no. CIG's stupid game of limited sales is ridiculous. Just make limited on War Bond and make non-War Bond unlimited. Simple flippin' fix. If I want to guarantee a Kraken, I have to spend $5,000 on a pack, and then I'm stuck with a privateer that I don't want because you can't CCU it to anything. Alrighty. So somebody's a little upset, Fastcart.
Yeah, really. You've been trying for how long to get a Kraken?
Try to get their Kraken. So, Fastcart, I'm gonna let you handle this part. I'm gonna probably be going for about 10 or 15, maybe about. No, I won't be going that long. I'll wait a couple more minutes, but no, I'm gonna go ahead and leave now. So let me let you handle it. Okay.
All right.
I'll be back, guys.
Yeah, so the limited ship sale is BS. Quite a few of us have been there. We try to get a ship that it's sold out by the time we get to the process to check out the process. And it's happened to me. It happened to several people. I was on the yacht club on Wednesday, and they said if you put your ship in the cart and wait for the next wave to come by, and you immediately check it out, you'll be able to get it then. So as long as you keep it in your cart, you should be okay. But yeah, some people don't know that. So yeah, let's go with what people think. It's limited ship sale BS. So I'm gonna drag Kaydin in first. Hey Kai, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm gonna
Welcome
make this
back.
super short. Thank you for getting me mid-dungeon. If your biggest problem in life is that the several $1,000 ship that you're trying to get is not gettable for you, that's some first world problems. Good luck.
That's some first one. That's some Star Citizen problem.
Hell yeah, that's some what's the Cloud City's name? Or that's some Orison problems. Good luck.
Yeah, Orison problems. Yeah.
All right, I'm out.
All right, take care. That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, out of all of the stuff that's going on in the world, if this person bigger problem, I think that's a pretty good problem to have. But it is frustrating. I know, no doubt, it is frustrating. But I can understand where this person is coming from. Okay, let's go with Mr. Face. Hold on. Hey, Fist, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Okay. I will say, to piggyback off of what Kai says, yes. Also, too, shout out to Joe Run for explaining this. Getting one of these limited ships, it's like an Olympic sport. That was explained, right?
I wouldn't go quite that far, but it is an
when you-
exercise. It is an
when you-
exercise.
when you think about it from the perspective of the timing aspect of the way Joe Run broke it down, was that he said, you have to, okay, you think about it, the first wave, there's a longer time period. So, okay, if you don't
there's bigger quantity.
it's bigger. Well, but I also, if I remember correctly, he did say that, okay, it might be bigger quantity, but it also is a longer time frame.
I don't think time frame is the thing. It's just a lot of people trying to get the product. So it's quantity limited. It's not time limited.
Okay. All right. So maybe So let's say if it's longer. So if you have more, then it does equate to. It might equate to longer time frame, right?
Right. Yeah.
So with that being said, what he said was, what you want to do is put that ship in your cart at least, so that when the next round comes, all you have to do is hit buy. and you just got to be quick on the draw for it. Because if you don't have that ship already in your cart, then you're going to be left behind for those that have already been there. So it is a race.
It is a race.
It is
Yes,
a
I give you
race.
that.
It is a race. So I get, the frustration, man. I want to be able to just buy, and I was there too. I wish, well, why would CNG do? But then when I got it, I get it. It's creates FOMO.
Well, let me ask you this. So what do you think of having like a CCU to the privateer or the Kraken or one of the bigger ships?
I'm sorry, say again.
What do you think about having a CCU? Like you can upgrade to a Kraken or privateer. What do you think about doing that?
You know what? I would have loved that because for a long time I wanted to have an Idris, and wanted to know without having to drop $1,000, and justifying that in my mind, just saying, let me drop a grand, straight out on a ship at the time, I was trying to think of, well, what if I was able to take some of the ships that I thought that I not really going to do much with, we have had the LTI token and have progressively, went up the chain, and then, you may want to drop a few $100s to get to it, I would have liked that. Don't get me wrong. I would have liked it. But then again, I get it from a business model standpoint. I tend to try to, keep that in mind, saying
All
that
right.
makes sense. So,
All right. So thank you very much for that.
good.
Appreciate it. I'll drag you up and get Pop back in here. Hold on. Getting Pops. Hey, Pop, welcome back.
Hey, all right.
How you doing? So what do you think? So is unlimited ship sale BS?
Now, this was my understanding of the limited part is that a javelin was supposed to go to how many people are in the game. So let's say it's 100 per 1,000, 100 javelins per 1,000. Now this is the whole point behind doing it that way, because if each one of us could shell out, what is that? I don't know. I forget the price of a javelin. What is it? 2,000?
2,000, something like that. Yeah.
$2,000 or $3,000. If we all pulled out our credit card, the game would be filled with javelins and a couple of auroras.
No, not me. I would not be getting a javelin.
Right.
I'll be on yours.
Right. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do.
And I don't think that. I think that would ruin the game. They want to keep the ships rare, and they don't want to have, like I said, 5 million javelins flying around the verse, and they're not rare because it would the Star Citizen would just become a battle zone.
Yeah, to your point. Oh, go ahead.
We'd all would pack our ships with blades and just have at it.
Right. To your point, to your point, in the Star Citizen lore, the Hull C is supposed to be the most popular ship in the verse. So there's supposed to be like Hull C's everywhere. So and that's a civilian ship, obviously. So being like a Javelin is a military ship, I could see why they wanted to keep that Kraken supposed to be like a rare ship. I could see why they wanted to keep that rare. But some of the other ships, like a 890 or the Phoenix, I'm not sure why those are rare.
They are rare? I didn't know.
Yeah, those are limited ships. Yeah, those are limited.
Well, I can understand the 890 from this point of view. Snobs. You don't want, again, you know what I'm saying? You don't really, you want to keep some ships so when people come in and they see it, it's like, oh, okay, man, I wish I had that. Now, whether or not what you can buy in game later on down the line, it becomes something to reach and grab for. So to me, it works. It kind of works out with a lore aspect and a money aspect, bringing in the dollar bills because you build that excitement. And as far as CCU, man, like my son said, I wanted an Idris so bad, and I wish that I could have wished that I could have CCU'd it till maybe about a year later. And after I thought about it, what in the world is me and my son going to do with an Idris by ourselves? So I got some sense. So that time spent did bring some reality to me. So that part was good that I just couldn't do it, CCU to it from an Aurora or something like that. It has its benefits, but yeah, the rarity in it, I think it makes sense to me. I think
All
it really
right.
it does.
All right. Thanks a lot, Pop.
All righty.
So yeah, Griffin, you're back, right?
Just for a second. You can keep
Okay,
going.
just 1 second. All right. So I'm going to bring in Red Bear One. Red Bear One, what do you think? How are you doing? Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Well, I'm actually divided on this limited ship bullshit. I agree one side with him, and the limited ship, what I do agree is bullshit when it comes to somewhat cheaper and less needed for crew. For example, the Constellation Phoenix. Maybe they are limited on sale, but not limited in volume. Uh, but
What
then
do you
you
mean by
have
that?
like, well, you have like a crew of, I thought, like 5 or so for the Constellation Phoenix needed. For example, the Javelin, about 80 people to crew it fully.
Mm,
So
okay.
I kind of agree with was it Fist I just hear or was Pops? He said like yeah, well, you need a kind of scarcity for people to calm down a bit before they pull the trigger. That's actually a
Yeah, those
good
pops.
thing. Yeah, that's a good thing. For some people needed it, but for me it's yeah, kind of yeah. I
Matter of
cannot
fact,
I cannot
eh,
fill 80 people in a javelin, so I'm staying away from that shit.
yeah,
But
matter of fact, to your point, some of the replies to your thread, a few of them, or at least one of them, said that they put the original poster, Kaydin, he dodged a bullet because that's a big step to buy. So maybe he
mhm,
dodged a bullet.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
you have also other ships like they are very uh, they are bound to something you bought in the past, like this
Hmm.
Intel Optane or this R9 290. You got an Star Citizenship with it. It's
Yeah,
kind of a shame that
that's
it,
the Saber Raven for the first part, and the AMD Mustang Omega for the second
yeah,
one.
correct. So I have a Raven, and I wouldn't mind if anyone else could buy it as well. But yeah, it's out of my hands, of course. And then you have the limited ships that you have to invest for a free ship like the F8 uh, that you get that way.
It's not really
I'm
free.
That's why the cost was there. Um, was the sarcasm?
Yeah,
but
it's not
but
really free when you got to pay $10,000 for
hey,
it.
on top of that, because they value your time and money, you get an extra ship on top of that.
Right,
On top
right.
of the what, do you already get an 600? I don't know, and all those things, but uh, I would want to see that people could also buy, even if the limited edition, in the store if they wanted to.
Mm, mhm,
And I cannot see why that shouldn't happen. I think the F8 would sell like crazy. It's extra
mhm.
funding. Let's put it this: it's a win-win for us all. Even if you don't want this ship, then it's still a win-win because the funding is going to the project. That's how I
And you
see it.
and you can always find someone else's Kraken or privateer to work on
Yeah,
if you really want to
exactly.
work on one.
Yeah. You can Kraken like in his example, the Kraken needs I think 10-ish people, as how far I
I
can
forget.
remember.
It's quite a bit, quite a few. But yeah.
Yeah. Uh, it's still a lot of people. Same goes with the
Hmm.
Bounty Merchantman. It's still yeah. quite a lot of people. You need a board for
Hey,
security.
don't trigger
and-
me when you say the Merchantman, man. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Oh, did I trigger anyone in chat? No. No, I'm. By the way, the Merchantman, nice ship, but
Mhm.
it's not the end of the game.
Yeah,
There's
I'm
some
glad the
other-
Merchantman. I'm glad the Merchantman is not limited because that would have screwed me over. All right, so thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks.
All right, Dragon, you up? And Dragon, I'm Kusanagi back down. Hey, welcome back, I'm Kusanagi. What are your thoughts, man?
Hey guys, how's it going? First of all, so I
All
want
right.
to apologize for the flash dance link I posted because but we had Irina Cara died today and I had that link.
Oh, I didn't even know what link that was. I just
Yeah.
saw it wasn't the right one.
Yeah, that's cool. So I
Go
hope
ahead.
everyone enjoys
No
that
problem.
music video. Take the 890. If you look at like a Bugatti or high-end Ferrari, they limit the sales of those to like 250 or 100 cars, whether it be like a year or just that title model version. So in a way, they're doing that for like luxury ships. So I'll say that's what they do for the Phoenix and the 890. But in regards to like every ship, like I get a little upset that there's certain ships that aren't available. Like in regards, like I got the Idris last year, but I actually like saved up my tax return for months because I was like, hey, in like 6 months I'm gonna get I'm gonna look at getting the Idris, and that's what I ended up doing. I didn't have to like do the F5 trick. And really, if you're playing with cash, you have like at least 5 minutes to pick up a ship, if not more.
Depending on the ship, yeah.
Some of those ships were there.
On the first day for the Great Kraken and Privateer, one of them only lasted for 30 seconds. So yeah, it depends on the ship. But yeah.
I mean, if people didn't know, like in Concierge, there were, I think it took, I think it was like 4 days for the Privateer to actually be sold out, and I think the Javelin took like a couple days, like one or 2 days. So, but that's again, that's
Phoenix,
just.
and I think the one of the 891 bond took a while too.
But in terms of like the generalization of like what he's talking about, yeah, like if you can't get like certain vanguards or any other ship, I can kind of see where there's a little, disappointment there, and I think it's frustrating, especially if you're a new player. Perhaps they should have you like give you like an amount of time, like, hey, you made a new account. I think I'd probably make everyone make new accounts for that.
Well, on the flip side, you're trying to give CIG money, so why wouldn't CIG want to make more money by making it less limited?
Can I jump in for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree on the points that have been said. I missed some of the earlier ones, so I hope I don't repeat what anybody else says. I think that people talk about whether or not CIG is creating FOMO with the limited sales, right? The fear of missing out. But I also think that people underestimate in business, there are people who you hire whose job is to determine how many ships can be sold and what the demand will be on those ships. Do you think that there are people who will buy ships like the Kraken, the Privateer, the Javelin, and the Idris who will later have buyer's remorse?
Yeah,
I think so,
Because
yeah.
they bought these ships with something in their mind, which we're going to talk about later on. The way they thought the game was going to play out, only to find out that it's not possible. It's that they're not capable of doing it, or the game mechanics don't allow for them to be able to take a ship that accommodates 80 people. A lot of times people say, "Oh, I'll get AI blades, or I'll get the NPC." Yeah. All in theory. A lot of money for theory. $3,000 for a Javelin, $2,000 for a Kraken. The CIG kind of basically have people who are bigger brains than me and some of us that says this is how many people within the base of the community will probably have these ships, will utilize these ships. And to a certain degree, there's a bit of consumer protection going on because, as you said, FC, why not just open the floodgates and just make as much money as possible? We got a waiver in there that says if you bought it, you're the sucker who bought it. We didn't make you, right? So, I mean, is there maybe some method to the madness on CIG's part? Not to mention the proliferation of those ships within the universe. There's a reality aspect of how many Krakens will exist, how many Javelins will exist. Is that something that maybe somebody has thought about? Or is it just a matter of being a consumer and, capitalism and, hey, fair
Do you think
game?
do you think it's a level of protection in there? Because I mean, I know people that they have like 3 Krakens. And I'm like, how the hell are you gonna make that? How's that gonna work? Like, I don't understand
Well,
why you have more than one.
well, Zen,
And if like,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, go
No,
ahead.
it just doesn't make any sense. It's like, and we know, like 7. I can't remember the 7 mine layers. So I'm like, you can't physically do that. I mean, right now you can't take out more than 3 ships. Personally, why
Right.
do you have more than 3?
Yeah.
Like, you can't give them to your friends. You can't give them to your org mates.
You can only fly one at a time, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Like
even your org mates, you can't physically take it out.
Zen Spoon says no because the only condition to buying is if you have the dollars, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm sure that if people are willing to spend anything that's 4 digits and above, I could even say 3 digits, but I'll just say 4 digits. If you're paying $1,000 or more, I'm hoping that you have some type of good, what's the word I want to look for? You've assessed
Financial
it. You've done your
responsibility.
financial responsibility. You've done your due diligence and everything else. You're not just reacting to a sale. When I say about consumer protection, I'm also talking about there's a protection for the game as well. It's not just protecting the consumer, but are we also protecting gameplay of the game by not allowing a certain amount of ships to be out? Now, I understand about the difficulty of purchasing because there are people who have all types of ways. They line up a bunch of tabs and try to make sure they get their ship. And if he's saying, hey, whenever the ships go on sale, it happens at times that's unavailable for me and I feel frustrated. CIG also does, and this is unofficial, y'all, so please don't. I hope CIG doesn't take this the wrong way. CIG can be very accommodating if you reach out to them the right way.
Yeah.
If you contact them
Especially
and
if they're
say, hey,
concierge.
yeah, especially if you're concierge, but even if you're not, if you're able to reach out and say things in such a way that, hey, I can't make those times, but I'd like to purchase it, they'll accommodate you. I'll be right back, guys. Go ahead, FC. I'm sorry.
Okay. No problem. Yeah, Hook 2005 asked me a question on Twitch chat. He said, do you think they adjust the numbers for the sale to seeing how the last batch sold? I do not think so. I think they have a plan, they stick to it. Maybe they adjust the plan from year to year, but during that one IAE, I don't think they adjust it based on the sale. Like a few years ago, and I prefer that rather than now, but they used to tell you how much quantity they had left to be sold. And I think that was better than what they have now. I can see why they took it out because that does generate more FOMO, fear of missing out when you do see the number. Because if you see that last one, you say, "Oh, I got to get the last one," and and I think a lot of people wind up melting it or getting rid of it from buying more. So I can see why they stopped putting the numbers up. But I don't think they adjusted the numbers for a specific sale during that year. I think they do it from year to year. How about you, Admiral?
I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean, I do remember when they did that, and it was you would try to be like, oh, there's like 20 ships left. Oh, I think I still have a shot. And people were picking, jumping on chat and and other channels like, hey, what's the best way to do this? And I was like, I don't know if this is the best way. I'm like, just check to see which browser is quicker, and make sure you got your funding ready to go. And it just to think that there's actual stress is like crazy.
It used to be that people had to know the SQUs for specific ships, and that's how they got it quickly. But I think the CIG might have done away with that because I don't hear people doing it that way anymore. And wait a minute. Oh, Red Wolf 1, thank you for the subscription for 24 months. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Let me move on.
All right. So yeah, that was the limited ship sale by Kaydin. Thank you for that, Admiral. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right. So going to the next one. Oh, I can't change the thing, but I'll get Griffin to change it when he gets back. But the next one is the sharpest frame. So basically, what this is, I'm gonna put the link in chat real quick. So this is like the sharpest frame of the latest video on Pyro. They say latest, but this is from yesterday. And you can click on the link and get the video. I'm not sorry, the picture. And basically what this is, they talk about fighting. So Griffin and I have talked about this before, but basically, do you think CIG gives a accurate portrayal of how things will be in Pyro. Because a lot of people think that once you get in Pyro, it's going to be fighting all the time, every time. But did you see in the IE videos with Jack the Furry, today was one of the ones that had fighting in. Yesterday, it was one they had fighting one, but out of the 8 videos they put out, only 2 or 3, 3 of them had fighting in it. So you think that CIG maybe trying to give you a hint as to how much fighting there will be in Pyro, or do you think that it'll be fighting all the time, constantly? Like as soon as you jump in, people try to jump you. So yes, okay. So we got Popped in. I'm going to drag him down real quick. Hey, Pops, how you doing? Welcome back.
Hey, FC. You know, I'm going to say this about the game. I think this game is a well thought out game. Kind of goes over to what we talked about, having too many javelins in the game. The game would turn out to be in the very beginning just a whole bunch of fighting. And to me, I think that would kill the game, because if that's all we're going to do for the first few months, what about mining? What about the economy? What about exploration, science?
Hey,
So
Pops,
many other things.
it'll fix itself. You know why?
You think
Once
so?
you fire them size 10 torpedoes out of that Polaris at 40,000 a torpedo, they'll be docking that sucker real quick, and they'll be out there chucking mines pretty soon. So it takes money. It takes money to do all that warfare. You know what I mean? So,
welcome back, Griff. Can you change the screen?
Next screen?
Yeah, we're on the next one. The sharpest frame.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on a second.
Yeah, but yeah. Go ahead, Pop. Sorry.
Because I came here, and I'm going to tell you, I came here from the mentality of other MMOs, and other MMOs, it's empty your wallet, get the biggest, baddest thing you can, so that nobody will really mess with you, or you can at least be in the big fight, right?
Pay to win.
Right. I was going, pay to win.
Which Star Citizen fought for, by the way, Pops, Star Citizen had to fight that statement for years. Because in the very beginning, everybody, because like you said, everybody in the gaming industry was used to that being the factor. And even though Chris from the very beginning said, your winnings in this thing will be based upon skill, I think people just kind of took that as the typical, you're saying that, but that ship costs $500. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Exactly, because that was my mindset when I came in. And then I had to learn from people. Wait a minute, what? You got to have how many people? Oh my goodness. Because that was, like I said before, that was an excellent reason why I couldn't just go out and buy an Idris or a Javelin. Because it made me, it gave me time to think about what the game, the true vision of the game, not the MMO vision of the game, but what this game is about. And that made me more excited about Star Citizen than just everybody flying around in javelins. And I
think a lot of people get this game confused with Eve, how things are with Eve Online, because you can get a Titan in EVE Online and fly it solo, because that's the way it's designed in that game. Right. For a big ship in Star Citizen, it's totally different. You're going to need a crew. It's not solo play, but people are used to or have in mind what they want Star Citizen to be, rather than what Star Citizen will be, or how Star Citizen is now.
Right, or what it is. And it was major finding out what this game is about, and it made me love this game way more. Longevity, working with people, doing things. It has become a sim. I never knew what a sim was before this game.
Right. Yeah. All right. So thank you for that, Pop.
All right.
I don't know who
let me
is
say
next.
this real quick. By the way, if you guys want to join in the chat, please feel free. Click on the link. Come in and give us your thoughts about this as well. We'd love to hear from you.
I'm going to drag, let's get Kusanagi, because he's always been last a few times.
Okay.
Get him one of the first ones. Hey, I'm Kusanagi. How are you doing? Welcome back.
I know I'm long-winded, so that's...
No, we save the best for last, that's all.
There you go. I appreciate that. So going off this picture, like, look at the electrical discharge that's hitting the entire top shield of that Kraken. Like you people have to have some serious issues coming in here, and people don't know how dangerous that system is going to be. We have to worry about the sun like blowing off radiation. We have to get behind a rock or whatever, and so we don't die. I mean, pirates alone. I mean, pirates aside, that's not our biggest concern. It's like just being able to not die. Getting cooked in our own ships. It seems like so. Yeah, I think Pyro is going to be a very, very interesting system, and I think it's just going to turn. I think it might even showcase where the direction of the game is going to what you're talking about, what people are saying about. I think Airsoft is saying they're buying. People are literally buying fleets, but I mean, you can't fly the fleets. With AI and NPCs entirely. So, what Griff is saying is entirely true. It's just you need personnel to do it. You need real people to do it because the computer's just not going to be as good as a real crew. Yeah, that's all I got.
Yeah. Okay. And, it's kind of a dangerous thing too. It's easy for us to slip into it when we're doing this purchasing thing, right? No matter how many ships you have, no matter what ship you have, you can only fly one ship. That's it. So even if you have a grand fleet, scaling up is always going to be a factor there, right? Risk is always going to be a factor there. Can my ship handle going into Pyro? I think you probably mentioned it, fastcart, but Jack said that his cutter was not functioning correctly after it got struck by one.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, when he
I saw it afterwards, but I'm like, oh, I didn't even see that. You mentioned it, and I was like,
oh. Flare. Yeah, he said because the flare, the disruption. So there was something wrong. Whether that meant that it still flew, but maybe he's got a component that's only at 50%, or maybe the ship is off balance and now you've got to replace something. Those are the other factors when we talk about being dangerous in Pyro. And as I told Fastcart earlier, it's many people, I've heard many conversations about the dangers of Pyro, and quite often people base those dangers around piracy. But as I said earlier too, and hopefully Fastcart said this earlier, every video we watched, you didn't see this great aggression going on. You saw a tone of aggression. You saw the two combat pilots, when they fought because they were having their personal beef. And even when we saw Pyro Station, if you notice, there was a broken up freelancer hanging off some chains. There was a beat up Banu defender, I think, on the right side. But then what you did see was the big caps out there, right outside the station. They were able to reach Ruin Station. So there's a lot here. I think these little Easter eggs that they keep dropping in the game for us to pay attention to, along with the lore, to think about what Pyro is going to be.
And to your point, like the first video is very peaceful. Jack is just trying to get Bob to lend him a ship.
Right.
And next video, I think it's the third video. Jack's at a bazaar from underneath a merchantman. That was pretty peaceful. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So
what else is interesting about that Fastcart in that first conversation when he's talking with Bob, he says that they stole the ship from him, then he stole it back. But then he's hanging out with them.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So was that a situation of reputation that now he was able to be there? Like you said, it was a safe place for him to be. When he meets the people on the derelict 890, he negotiates them for a case of champagne, and they let him leave, even though they say, "Oh, we want you to stay for dinner." He leaves, right? So
they were thinking about eating him, so that's why
they just made the statement. They made the statement. That's inferred, right? But my point is that we're not seeing this thing of rampant killing when we're at the marketplace with the Banu, merchantmen. There's a general nighttime atmosphere of a bazaar and marketing going on, and even when the guy behind the counter, right? The guy doesn't pull a gun on him when he sees the camera. He says, "No, not cool," and walks away, right? So we've made a lot of images about what we think Pyro's going to be, but we just really don't know. Let's go with what we see and what CIG has shown us, and I think that's the safest place to be.
All right, so thank you for that, Admiral. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Admiral.
All right, so I'm going to get Woodbear 1 first into space.
Okay.
Hey, Woodbear 1, welcome back. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, my thoughts about this nice picture and Pyro. I think people will Yeah, underestimate the time they have to fly towards this station.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as soon as they do this PvP thing a couple of times and they getting killed just before they could put this spawn point there, they will go back to Stanton and hang around there again. I'm pretty sure a lot of those PvPs will go back because the travel time will be atrocious for them.
Mm,
And only the patient one, they will go there.
mm,
That's what I think. And what Pop say about this larger ships with Idrises and the javelins, totally true. I agree 100% on them. Uh, I therefore I like rather CIG not to implement the blades and NPCs,
hmm
so that way you can even balance better those ships. Otherwise, you have too many of those ships flying.
Yeah,
In
I'm
my
hoping if
opinion.
they do it, Red, that they'll do it in a way with the blades in particular,
Hmm.
that your ship can only be automated to a certain percent. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
You can't,
Right.
if you've got an Idris, you can't put 23 blades in and you're number 24. You know,
Yeah.
they may say that you can do 30% blades or blades work for turrets or make it very expensive, right? I
I
mean,
think
extremely
they said
expensive.
something to that effect
They did at
already.
one point back in the day, but they
Yeah.
haven't really locked it down yet. I'm sure they're still
Right.
working on that, but that's the thing about it. And I know with NPCs, they talked about NPCs will be graded, and so the
Mhm.
more proficient your NPC is, the more it's going to cost not only to hire, you have to
Have
feed
to pay
them,
for the
they have to
salary.
be on a time clock of when they sleep. Is a whole
Yep.
bunch of stuff that's going to be built into that. So it's not like you can have this 24-hour sentinel that's,
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger running your gun. That's not the way it's going to be.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that's why people need to really be careful, because that's why I mentioned about that buyer's remorse earlier, Fastcart.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
People buy these ships thinking that, oh, when I get this ship, I'm going to go do, but the game mechanic does not allow for you to do that. So do your homework
Yeah.
is what we're telling you guys. Do your homework.
Also, I still believe that we have this auto aim-ish thing on the turrets at the moment.
Hmm
And some of the people think like, okay, we want to have it a bit more skill based, so make that a little less, that you have to aim better.
hmm
I think, yeah, sure. Only then I think that should also go for the NPCs and the blades as well.
mm
Because how can you make that skill based? The
mm
NPCs and the blades.
hmm
It's not doable
mm
because they operate on their own.
Yeah, but remember they did give us, I don't know if it's skill. I don't know how to quote it, but remember Tony Z talked about there is a learning process to the AI. Remember when he
Yeah,
gave the example of the AI that went near Grimhex and it was
yeah.
doing some travel and it attacked, and it said that it knew because it had this one experience somewhere else that that was like a learning
Hmm.
experience for the AI. That's some pretty advanced stuff as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So how they're going to temper, like you said, AI, their response to stuff, is there a learning aspect to it? Because again, it's supposed to be gaining experience as well. The ones who are more experienced, they're going to ask for more money. The ones that are
Hmm.
least experienced, I mean, cost less money, but they have least experience is another factor. I don't know how they're going to do it. It's a great question, Red. But they're doing something with AI that I've never seen in a game. And
Right.
we'll have to see where the technology
At
takes
least
them.
not to this scale.
Yeah, to the scale. Yeah, to the
I'm
scale.
always asking the annoying questions, I guess, for the developers.
No, they're good questions. They're
Mm.
they're they're,
Yeah,
they're
you're
good
fine.
questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, good questions. Thanks, Red.
All right. Thank you. Thank
Yep.
you, Red Bear.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
All right,
later,
so
guys.
take care. All right, so I'm drag you up, and then I'm going to drag Fist to Face and then Kai. So Fist to Face first. Welcome back, Fist.
Hey, how you guys doing? All right.
Good.
All right.
Okay, so first thing I want to ask is, okay, so when I look at this, what is the question? Just want to make sure looking at this.
We were just talking about observations from this particular image that, we got our first real, everything else has been concept that we've seen in
Mhm.
relation to Ruin Station and Pyro, right? And they've been revealing now in game what this stuff is going to look like. And in this particular shot, what I was telling Fastcart is the ships that you see that are out there flying are a caterpillar and a kraken. We see that the Kraken gets struck by some form of EM or lightning at some point. Is more of a kind of a feeling of a storm around that's going on. On the hangar, when Jack's turns his Moby glass and kind of shows you around a little bit, we can see
Right.
that there's some damaged smaller ships that are in the hangar that are broken and beaten up and
Yeah,
stuff.
because they didn't survive the lightning.
They didn't survive, or they just didn't survive, whatever the case may be. And my
Correct.
point is that when we want to get to Ruin Station, which is definitely deeper into the system, um, our conceptions about what Pyro is on point? You know, our players saying what Pyro is, and maybe Pyro is something entirely different than what people are saying. Because mostly I hear people talking about Pyro in relation to piracy, right?
Right.
And we
Right.
understand that it is under UEE jurisdiction, but you know, I believe that even though there are gangs, multiple gangs, those gangs have rules. There are some things you can do maybe on Pyro 3 you can't do at Ruin Station, or maybe even certain sections of Ruin Station that are run by different gangs. We don't know where the space stations are in Pyro. Where can you refuel? Where can you get repair? Maybe you go to one place, the only thing you can do is refuel, but you can't repair, right? Am I going to be able to fly in with my Comet, my Saber? How far can I get? Can I even come through the wormhole? And will there be a station for me to refuel? I can't even use it. I've got to get on somebody's freaking Kraken or Liberator just to get into the system deep enough.
And what about reputation? Even if you could refill, would it let you because you don't have the reputation with whoever factor is in control of that fuel pod?
Absolutely. Location of wormholes. Can my ship survive going through the wormhole? Do I need to be in a certain type of ship to do it? I mean, there's a whole lot of factors. A lot of wormholes like Ruin Station, there are jump points near there. But my point is that have people done the homework on this, or are we just getting caught up on the hype of, yeah, we're going to go into a lawless system. When we go there, we're just going to be doing this and doing that and that. It's like, yeah, okay. You know, you may think that you are.
Yeah, simmer down.
I think to that question, if I'm understanding your question, to that question, I would say the general consensus from what I've heard from people are thinking Pyro is human to human, not human to environment.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So when we saw this yesterday, I'm not going to lie, even for myself, you know, it even said, whoa, this is more dangerous than I think.
Yeah,
it is.
you're not the only one. I did the same thing.
Because when Jax was talking about, you know, the solar flares knocking him out the sky, it had a spark.
No pun intended.
Right. Okay. So it had, right. There you go. Okay. So it had a spark, but it didn't, like, you know, light the match all the way. But when I saw that lightning, I said, wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah. So if
I gotta give a shout out to Colossal real quick because he just popped in, and the first thing he says in all caps is, "Read the lore."
No, and that is exactly correct. You know what I mean? Because and that's exactly correct, because the problem is a lot of times we don't realize if you don't read the lore, if you don't have information or something, then you automatically start to interpret things for yourself, and
Right.
that
And you may interpret incorrectly.
Exactly. You then start putting things on it, or, you know, subtracting things from it that aren't there. So, you know, when I saw this, I was like, whoa. To my opinion, I was like, okay, wait a minute. This gonna make me think about coming in here with some little old rinky-dink ship, even if it's, you know, a good ship in my mind. That lightning, you may not be able to you know, handle that. You know.
Kraken kept rolling, but your freelancer may not, right?
Oh yeah, your freelancer may not. You don't know. Now let's say, now, so check this out though, Griff. Let's kind of throw something in here though. I'm just saying, maybe that could have been just the light side of what you just saw.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true. Yeah. I'm also thinking about there may be other factors that they build into, like, to your point, maybe my freelancer can do it with a size 4 component or AAA component. You know what I mean? But if I've got stock in there, you know what I mean, or a medium, it just fuses it, right? So maybe this is the demand for gameplay as well, that I'm not just buying my drive because it gets me there faster, but maybe it's capable of taking a electrical strike like that and still function. Where like with Jax, like what Jack said, remember Jack said when his ship got hit, it wasn't the same. It wasn't that it was disabled, but it just wasn't running right. Go ahead, FC, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say, and maybe you wanted to think about like what quality components do you put in your ship? Like, if you
Yeah.
know you're gonna be, it may be risky. Do you want to put your best component in there that's more expensive? Or you want to put some cheaper components that you can have multiple versions of, so that so if one get messed up, you can replace it easier
That could
or
be another
cheaper.
way of looking at it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. It's a
yeah,
lot of
and you
factors. Go ahead.
and then like you said, you just talked about the damage to those components. You get struck by lightning. Now when persistent damage comes in, you got to think about it. You may not be able to repair here at this station. So
Yeah.
guess what?
Yeah,
You
because the
might be
reputation or
there
what have
for
you.
a long time.
Yeah, yeah. Or the fact that I mean, as we know, components now can be moved, right? So
Yeah.
Right.
maybe Fastcart's merchantman comes in and he's got the
Hey, no.
components for sale on that ship that I need. So it's not just him coming with exotic stuff per
Hmm.
se, but he's just coming with stuff that's just practical for people in Pyro, right?
Griffin, let
Right.
me tell you,
There
if you're
you
waiting for me
go.
to come into Pyro with my resume, you're gonna be waiting a long time,
Well,
buddy.
I'm using you because I figured
Yeah, I
you'd
know.
want to use it. But my point is that
Yeah.
that's where people like or Fastcart become valuable because
Right.
maybe the merchants and them sell it there and maybe it's some astronomical price, but FC comes in and says, hey, you guys give me safe passage in, and I'll sell my
Exactly.
stuff to you guys. You see what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of
Now,
gameplay
now
that can come out of that.
exactly, and that's a part of what I always have to say with a couple of guys I knew. We would talk about this theory craft about this a lot of times because we would talk about, okay, we're not pirates, but do we have some type of an agreement with them to say, hey, look, I'm carrying this cargo. This is coming to your station.
Hmm.
This is benefiting you.
Right, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you strike the
So
deals. Yeah. Hmm.
let's talk,
Hmm.
because blowing this up, who loses?
Yeah.
Because I mean,
Mhm.
if not trying to take it over, you might lose some people. I might lose some people. You know, and you might, like I said again, you might have that philosophy of that person that says, "Listen, before I give it up, I'm gonna blow it up."
Hmm.
Yeah,
You
Okay.
know?
exactly.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for that face to face. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks,
of
man.
course. Thank you.
But before we get to Kaydin, I just want to address Kavion. You said doesn't CIG change the lore around all the time? And to a certain extent, they do. They do have those lore post updates and whatever. But I don't think it's like major changes. I think that they do tweaks here and there, at least recently.
Yeah.
But I mean, like a few years ago, they do have some retcons every once in a while because of something that conflicts with something that they wrote recently. But I don't think it happens as often as people think. But
Right.
maybe that's just
No,
me.
you're right. You're absolutely right. And also, Pops in Space mentions a good thing too. For you guys, check out Paul Shelley, the Astro Historian. He's been putting out videos this week on all of the manufacturers. But really, I know the reading can be a bit aggravating and finding time to read, but trust me, go to Paul's stuff. He has things on Pyro. Even the lore maker stuff,
Everything.
turn the lore maker stuff on. If you want to know about a system, about Gauss or whatever, when you're riding in the car, you're walking around, you're doing stuff around the house, put your headphones on, you can take the information in that way as well. But really, Colossal's right. Read the lore. It's important. Lore is not just an aside in this game if you want to be able to get around and you can
Or
play
if
it,
you,
but to get the advantages of the game, you're missing out on the advantages of knowing how this game is being developed.
Or if reading lore is not something that you're into, have it read to you. Because there's plenty of YouTubers or streamers online who read the lore for you. You can just go video by video.
Okay. Alrighty.
So we have Kaydin back. Thank you for waiting, Kaydin.
No worries. For anybody who's interested, just come to the Soul Citizens Discord. The link is right there. And send a message to Fastcart saying that you want him to read you lore in ASMR voice, and he will record custom 9-hour-long lore videos for you.
For a price.
So, I mean, if you're a Soul
Yeah,
Citizen.
okay.
So, all right. As I talked about when I came in for my first comment today, the compelling storytelling is either man versus man versus self, or man versus nature. We've talked before several times, Griff and Fastcart and I and the crew, about I'm so excited for Pyro for the entire man versus nature aspect. I would love to have a 5-hour gaming session in Pyro where I never even see a pirate because it's mostly dead and empty. But I have 7 or 8 close encounters with death because of flares and rock slides and any gravity issues or any kind of a number of issues. I
Crabs.
think that would be amazing. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's definitely man versus nature still. So NASA has a whole thing where they talk about the very first rule when you come to NASA. They explain to you, space is hard and it wants to kill you. And it's like, that's a very real thing. We play, a bunch of us play Icarus, and there are no enemy NPCs that are trying to kill you. There's some animals that will aggro you or whatever, but in the most part, it's like you got to try to get oxygen. You have to try to make sure you maintain water and food and all these different things, and like everything is trying to kill you. Yeah. So I love that. And just to highlight the theme where I said, to have a compelling story, you need conflict. You need man versus man, which was the first point that we came in on that I commented on. This is definitely man versus nature. And earlier, the dude who was crying about the fact that he couldn't get rid of $2,000 on a whim, that's man versus self right there. All right, love you, brothers. Have a great week.
Thanks.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you,
buddy.
Kai.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you. All righty, FC. Thanks for covering, man. I appreciate it.
No problem.
FC's
It was fun.
Great co-host here. Okay, we're gonna hit the last topic of the day, and this one is as you guys know, sometimes we do Spectrum, we Reddit, and we do gaming industry. So I'm gonna bring up a topic. Some of you may be familiar with it, some of you may not be, but I think you'll be curious about the end topic of this because Star Citizen is tied to it. So, pardon me. Some of you know that this past week, the game Atlas, there was a collapse with FTX, the crypto. As you guys know, FTX basically went broke, ran out completely of money.
You have to specify Star Atlas, because there's another game called Atlas.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say Atlas. Please forgive me. Star Atlas. Thank you, fastcart. Star Atlas went broke. Well, I shouldn't say that. Star Atlas did not go broke. Let me rephrase that. FTX went broke. Star Atlas is a crypto-based game, as most of you guys know, and they just started within the last few years, and they have been kind of like the other company that people have been watching in comparison to Star Citizen. The difference being that they are using cryptocurrency as a means to earn while playing, earn and play at the same time, and so I bought into this. I shouldn't say bought into it. I bought a ship in it to test it, to see what it was like, to see how it would operate. I'm not a big crypto fan in that avenue. Hey, Mr. Coffee, thank you so much for that follow.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm not a big crypto person like that, but I wanted to see how the game mechanic would work. And so I invested in a very small ship. It was a ship that kind of looked like the Nox, basically. I think it was like $20. And what you would do is you could because they were still developing the game, they had like an online web-based simulation where you could employ your ship into battle. You had to put fuel on it, ammunition, and food for your crew. You didn't do anything other than that. You just bought those supplies, and then you would basically launch your ship into this simulation. Nothing visual. And then each day when your ship was lent into these battles, you would win some of the tokens that they have in the game called Polis. Okay, you would get these tokens, okay? And of course you could transfer that back into crypto, and that was over time you could make money. So I'd say over like a 3-month period, I may have made, out of the $20 I put in, I was around like $18 back, something like that. I don't know, okay? But I was just trying to see how this thing worked, okay? And as you guys know, development on a game for the visuals takes time. We see that right now, fastcart with Star Citizen, right? How long does it take before we see it? Montoya had put out a great video about Star Atlas, saying that they would probably follow the same model of Star Citizen, which meant that first we would see a hangar, which they did. They have what they call the showroom. And in the showroom, you could spawn the ships that you've purchased and look at them. They didn't have them built out or anything. It was mostly externals, but you could bring them up onto a platform and take a look at them, okay? That was probably the furthest that they were getting along. They were just starting to work on their flight model, and then FTX had its collapse last week. Now, they ended up losing, I think, out of their money for runway. In other words, money they were using for development, they had $30 million. And then when FTX collapsed, they lost half of that money. That's what they reported. So $15 million disappeared in one day. The money was in an exchange. It was not being handled well by the folks at FTX. And so to make a long story short, they lost 15 million. Okay. And it also has, of course, affected a lot of investors. There are a lot of people that played that game or wanted to invest in that game who lost everything, literally everything. And there's no FDIC, right? There's no being able to claim and get your insurance and get your money back. That money is gone.
No,
So people lost thousands
no
of
short
dollars.
Atlas refund.
Right. Now, let me give you another piece. I'll give you an example. Most of the ships at that time, before this happened, most of this happened during what's it called? Jesus Christ, how did my brain fry just quickly?
Pandemic?
No. What are the things called, the tokens that people put money on? Come on, chat, y'all help me. Old man's crashing out
Not
here.
Bitcoin.
No. The JPEGs you buy that are worth something. Like
Oh,
the
you're
apes,
talking about,
like the apes.
yeah.
NFTs. Thank you,
NFT.
Rastasas. Thank you.
I couldn't think of it either.
Okay, so Star
NFT.
Atlas really kind of kicked off during the NFT craze, right? A year ago, everybody's buying NFTs, the monkeys and all this, the gorillas or whatever. Everybody's doing that, and a lot of people jumped on that train with this. Now that was around the time when I bought in, right? But not because of the NFTs. I bought in because of the game. Well, over the last years, you guys know NFTs, you don't hear nobody talking about them hardly at all, right? They've been falling off. Most of the ships had been dropping by anywhere from 30 to 40%. So if you paid $3,000 for your ship, it might have been worth $1,800 now, $1,600. Okay, the prices just took a hit. And one of my concerns about doing stuff with crypto is that the market still dictates it. Even though they were using Solana, it's still impacted by what's going on with crypto in general. And so you have no control over that. So not only is it a matter of what happens in the game, but just what happens in the cryptocurrency world can have impacts on you. And you would hope that the game had buffers in place so that you wouldn't be impacted that much. But a hit like FTX really swiped some people out. Okay, so that's the background I'm giving you. Now here comes the pièce de résistance. So they're in a position now where they've got to figure out what's going to happen. Some people say that Star Atlas is probably dead, that it's not going to be able to survive this. Some people are saying, hey, let's see what happens. Maybe they can try and find ways to recoup. So they had been recently putting out certain ships. Maybe once every couple of months they had a new ship coming out. Now, those of you who are in Star Citizen, you all know that our ships run from anywhere from $20 to as much as $3,000. And you also know, if you've been around any length of time, how much controversy there has been about buying those type of ships. They're not investments. Let me take that word back. Not investing.
Yeah, not
Backing,
investment. You're
backing,
supporting the, yeah.
Yes, the project, right? So you're backing it. You're basically, it's like when you watch public television and they say, donate to us and we'll give you this free t-shirt, right? That's it. That doesn't mean you own the public station anymore. You don't have any say on how they run their place. You're just saying, hey, I like what you're doing and I want to send you some money so that you can continue doing what you're doing. That's what backing is. Now you do invest time and passion and love, but y'all ain't getting no stock reports and nothing like that, okay? You're not investors. We're all backers. Now, here's the kicker. Okay, this week they decided to launch their Titan class ships. Okay, this is a Titan. Now, for those of you who play Eve, you all know what Titans were in that game. They were the ultimate ship in the game. Titans in Eve could run you in real American dollars. Back when I was playing, $3,000. My understanding now it's up to like $4,500 now. It took 3 months. It took 3 months to build one. Just to get it built in the game. You had to buy the blueprints fastcart. You had to get all the raw materials.
You got the materials, and you got to train for it. To train for a Titan takes, I want to say, 18 months.
Yeah, to get it, right? So by the time you got through doing all the stuff you had to do in Eve to get a Titan was going to cost you, just in real US dollars, like $3,000. This is several years ago. Like I said, I heard it's up to $4,000, $4,500 now. Okay. So fastcart. Tell everybody how much a Titan in Star Atlas starting price is.
$1 million.
Okay. $1 million. That's the starting price. And they can go as high as $4 million. Okay. So here's my question to you guys for today. In light of Star Citizen's history and all the colossal, in light of Star Citizen's history, in light of all the stuff that people have been saying about spending money on games and Star Citizen being a scam and blah, 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 Fastcart mentioned something to me that was I hadn't noticed, and it was a great observation. We've talked about the magazine massively overpowered. We all know about Kotaku and a whole bunch of other ones.
Kotaku.
All the heat they gave Star Citizen, you don't hear squat about $1 million ship here. Their highest ship, and we've talked about this before on the show, their ship before the Titans, their highest ship cost $99,500, almost $100,000. Now, some people would say, yeah, but it's an investment because it's an NFT and you're going to get your money back. Well, that's all speculative.
No.
It's all speculative. You might get
Right.
your money back. So if you guys want to, are the ships investments or donations? Cavian, they are investments. They are investments in Star Atlas.
Yeah, ship. Star Atlas.
Star Atlas's ships
for
are
Star Atlas. For
investments.
Star Citizen, it's a
Yeah,
donation.
they're NFTs. They're NFTs.
NFT. Yeah.
Okay. Has anyone bought these ships? Metallic, yes. People have bought ships at the lower scale. As of midweek this week, no one had bought a Titan yet, and I haven't been keeping up with it the last few days to see if someone has bitten. Now, some people are saying they're doing this as a last ditch effort to show that there's still interest in the game. In other words, if they see a couple people buy one or two of these, then it will have their community feel like, hey, there are people who still believe in it, and we're going to hang in here and keep going with the game. But then there are other people who are concerned that if nobody buys a Titan, if nobody drops $1 million, that it's also sending a signal to their community that this game is about to die, that nobody's willing to take that risk. Okay. So I'm going to open up the floor to you guys. You can come in and share your thoughts, talking about this and particularly in relation to Star Citizen. Is Star Citizen gaining credibility now? Or are you still hearing people out there in the gaming world saying that, you know, like today, this new ship came out. I've been watching some people put out videos just recently. Is Star Citizen, should we stop making ships? You know, are we still, that's still a
That
discussion.
happens every time.
It's still a
Yeah,
discussion
yeah.
after all these years. Even with what we see happening, there are some people who still believe that Star Citizen is asking for too much money. You know, that they need to stop and just develop the game. Okay, so let's bring some folks in.
And
here.
then they don't say anything about Star Atlas, but go ahead.
Yeah, let's bring some folks in. We'll bring in Red Baron this time. He hasn't been in here first. So, Red, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Sorry about the
Yeah.
long prelude. I had to give today's show was having to give a whole lot of background, so please forgive us today. But go ahead.
No. That's actually pretty good. So I can think what I'm going to say.
Okay.
First, I want to start about Star Atlas in general. And the only thing I really resent against Star Atlas is the way they want to implement that you play for money.
Mm.
And every game, so far I know, when real money is involved, but which you can earn, is starting to get into a job. If you want it or not,
Mm.
it's people are getting serious about it, and then the whole game will vanish, in my opinion.
Mm. Okay.
And that's one of the few reasons I don't like Star Wars. The rest, yeah, well, it's a kind of a in its mate, it's kind of a clone of Star Citizen. Let's be real. Now your second part of your question about the scamminess of Star Citizen, go fix your game and that sort of stuff. Well, the amount of magazines posting on the game is not ready yet. Well, we had our 500 million donations last time. Yeah, well, you still hear those same magazines say like it's still not ready,
Mm-hmm.
no end in sight, and that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that won't stop until it's out. What does change is the amount of people who actually starting to know to Star Citizen, also YouTubers, bigger YouTubers, taking this now seriously because there's something to do here for maybe for some other people who are backing this for longer. We are used to this already.
Mm-hmm.
We know this game, we know the game loops, we know everything. So for us, there is quotation marks nothing to do. But for them, there's a lot of new stuff to do. a lot of content to explore and that sort of stuff. So for most people who coming new into this game,
Hmm.
they see there's a lot of new and potential in Star Citizen. So the um, the dialogue go from it's a scam, it's going to finish the game. So it's a positive turn where Star Citizen is going.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, true or not true, fastcart?
Hmm.
It is a positive thing to a certain extent, but yeah, it depends on your perspective.
Yeah,
In my opinion.
Okay.
yeah, sure. Yeah, and yeah, well, in the forums, it's always the same, right? I mean, you can
Mm.
every time there's a new ship, I don't know what it is,
Hmm.
there is some new drama. And the last time, remember the Iron, we had the drama with the nerfing.
Hmm.
We have the Hercules with the kitchens. We have the
Yeah.
The
Odyssey
Odyssey.
with a carry killer,
Yeah.
and now we have
It's always
the
something, right?
Galaxy. Yeah. Oh my God, really? It's always something. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
that's always a
It's just
constant.
us. It's just us as gamers. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And to the question, in my opinion, should CIG stop making concept ships and just finish what they already have on deck? They are a business. They have to stay in business. Sure, they have some money in the bank. They can go for 6 months or so, but they have to have a revenue source, and this is a great source.
Yeah. Yeah, I made a post on the Q&A. Thank you for this, because I was wondering as well, because they insert this Galaxy, and people think they push back the BMM for that. I don't know if it is true or not.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I have a neutral stance on this, but people want to know if it is worked on now, and why is it worked on now, and why is the module coming back now? I mean, what kind of tech has been holding back so long that
Yeah.
they can actually work on it?
You know, the difficulty, Red, is that we only see one side of the mirror.
Yeah, that's
We
why I
don't-
have
we
all
don't-
those questions.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know. I mean, CIG could have had. I'm not trying to be funny, but they could have had the Atlas on their chart in June of
Galaxy.
2017, or Galaxy. I keep saying Atlas, Jesus. June
I
of,
think-
June,
yeah,
June
that's
of
a nice name.
2017. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we just don't know. And just because it gets revealed to us now doesn't mean that it wasn't 2 years ago saying that in November of 2022, the Atlas, you know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
it's we can't. I know people. That's all the information they have to work with, and I understand that. But I also think that we have to realize that they're planning this for the long game, not the short game, and not the immediate game. You know. And sure, I'm sure there are things that do pop up where they realize, hey, we can do this now because we've gotten over this hurdle. Now we can accomplish this. But I think the bulk of what they do, if anybody's worked in business, you have to plan stuff out, man. You got to be able to stretch for the long dollar. You got to stretch out for what happens the year when money. Remember, fastcart a year and a half ago, I was predicting that money was going to start falling off. I said they're going to peak out.
No, it wasn't just you. A bunch of us.
Yeah,
I did too.
Next year, I said they're probably going to peak out. And look at these jokers. Somebody
Right.
projected and knew that they were still going to be making more money. I would have never thought these guys would be still beating themselves every year at this point. And yet and still they do. But it's also because, as you said this, Red, that they're also seeing a turn in the game. Somebody's seeing, the community, gamers are seeing that, hey, maybe this thing is real. Maybe I've watched so many videos over the last month of people who said, I've been watching Star Citizen for the last 5 years, and I finally decided to buy a package and check it out. And now that I've been in there, now I understand what they're trying to do. There's a bunch of videos within the last month that have come out saying that.
On top of that, you can also look at the Twitch from last week or so. You see that average, for me at least, the average viewer is now, instead of 1 or 2K, it's around 8 now. Like that's a big bump.
It's a change. Yeah. Okay, Red. Thank you, man. As always.
Okay.
Thank you, man.
Good stuff.
Bye.
Good stuff. All right, let's bring in Pops in space. We'll save Admiral for last again. All right, here we go. All right, Pops. What you got, Pops?
I'll leave Admiral last again.
Yeah, we're gonna leave him last again. I told you to save the best for last. So go ahead. What you got?
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, now y'all just made me forget the question. Okay. Okay.
Star Atlas.
Star Atlas.
Yes.
Okay. I agree with Red 100%. I did not like this whole thing with playing with the money-making aspect. And I believe Red was talking about, if you're going to make money, make money. Making money in a game turns a game into a stock market. I did not like it. Now, I didn't want the game to fail. That didn't mean that, it would, I would have hoped that it would have been a cool game. Then maybe I would have bought me a $20 ship to come in and play with people. But I don't think people watching the ticker tape going and watching to see if their ship value was going up instead of steering their ship correctly.
Why am crashing into an asteroid?
Sitting back in their finance room instead of flying the ship. I do get what you said, though, Pops.
Yeah, I just didn't understand how the game would be played, and whether they, like you said, if they bumped into an asteroid, well, the value of my ship just went down $100,000.
Well, here's the deal, Pops. Yeah. I mean, one of the things that's been talked about with Play to Earn is it's supposed to be more of a passive thing, right? It's supposed to be that it's just something that happens while you're playing. And my challenge for them had more to do with, will you create a game that immerses people enough to invest the time to play it? Because if I don't put the time in, you know what I'm saying? Then I'm not making the money. And I have to have something that's going to be out there that makes me want to invest the hours and time that like I said, remember I talked about the bike thing, right? I said I put it in there and it took me like about 2-3 months before I got like $18 back, but it was only $20 in. Okay.
Right.
Obviously, the more money you make, the more you bring back, right? But I didn't have to do anything for that. All I had to do was come in like every day, every other day, and reload my ship up with food and stuff. But I wasn't doing any gameplay. So that would get boring. You know what I mean? It was. After about a month and a half, it was frustrating to keep going back there every day, logging into the website, saying, okay, give me 500 food, 500 fuel, 500 this. Because when you have a small ship, you only have small cargo areas. If you have a big ship, you could set your ship up for like a week or two. But when you had a single small ship, you had to come in there every day in order to make money.
And Griffin, to me, that sounds like a good phone game, because you could set that up on your browser and the phone and just do it on your phone
at that
every
point,
other day.
but see, to Pop's point is, at that point, is it a game? Because I'm not doing anything. I'm running a simulation at this point, and I'm not even controlling that. I'm not even doing anything. Like there was nothing I could do in the simulation to give myself an edge or disadvantage. It was just like your ship's in there, and you're guaranteed to make 0.008 this a day. It was a guaranteed amount, flat amount. It didn't go up, it didn't go down. It was the same amount every day. And so that's why I said, play to earn, if it's a passive that I'm doing it and I'm not, like you said, I'm not watching the ticker tape. I'm focused on the game, and it just happens to be when the game is over with, I realize, I made $8 today. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, the other side of the coin is that darker side, and I think Red introduced this, is that once you start introducing real money into a game, there are also those people out there who don't care about gameplay. What they do care about is making money.
Exactly.
And that brings a different type of person into the community versus the person who wants to focus in on gameplay.
To your point, Griffin, I think the CEO did like a presentation at a gaming convention, but it came across as an investor presentation.
Yeah, at first when he did, it did, because that's what he really focused on. But he's also an investor. He's a business guy more than a gamer. And you're right, there were a lot of people who said, dude, where's the game? Because there are everybody in Star Atlas ain't about the money. There are quite a few people who were, in fact, after that period of time that they were doing all this stuff, people started complaining, saying, hey, you need to give us a game. They gave us a couple of cinematics, and they're like, yeah, but where's the game? We need something to play, because there were people who wanted to play. And all of a sudden, now mine has been 2 years. They finally started pushing out, just like CIG. Took a couple of years before we got our hangar module, right? So I don't think their people are as mentally prepared for development the way Star Citizen people were, who came in at the very beginning, understanding this was going to be a development process. These other people were hearing about, hey, there's a game we want to make where you can make money, and that's where their buck stopped in their heads, you know.
And I don't want to tell you, we talked about aliens and fighting earlier. When I heard about this, those people I wanted to go in a game and shoot, because I felt it was an invasion on gaming. I felt like, wait a minute, are we playing games or are we investing? I mean, we do invest in the game because we all build the PCs and keep them up to date, because you have to do that.
Yeah.
But man, I felt like this was alien stuff coming into gaming, man. No,
That's a good point. All right, Pops. Thanks a lot, man.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Pops.
All right. Let me address a question here before we bring Admiral Kusanagi, and we're going to wrap up the show because I need to wrap it up in a couple minutes. A little bit of madness mentioned, says he wasn't prepared and he was told 2016. You're not the only person, Madness, who ran into, as Fastcart mentioned it earlier, misinformation. Star Citizen and Squadron 42, as you know, are both distinctively different games, but they are also blurred together quite often. And CIG did announce that Squadron 42 would release. They gave out 2 or 3 release dates, in fact. There was a 2014 release date, a 2015 release date, and the one that was most popular was the 2016 release date. But that was in relation to Squadron 42.
Right.
Those people who knew about the persistent universe, most people, not everybody, because there may have been some people who still got the lines blurred, knew that that was the long-term build, the long-term process. We never had a date per se as to when the persistent universe would come online. Quite often CIG would talk about them in parallel. They would talk about the fact that, for example, when you play Star Citizen, when you finish it, you will be able to go into the persistent universe. So it'd be very easy for somebody to think, well, if Star Citizen, Squadron 42 is coming out in 2016, and I finish it that year, I can jump into the persistent universe right afterward and think it's finished. So that's the issue. Star Citizen, the persistent universe, will take time. That's being built. A lot of the tech that is being developed for that and Squadron 42 they go with each other. They're kind of in parallel, moving together. But and yes, CIG did officially put out dates in relation to Squadron 42, and sometimes that has been blurred because even the media, quite often, very rarely do you hear them talk about Squadron 42. You hear them talk about Star Citizen. They'll say, "This is how much money was raised for Star Citizen." And for us, when we say Star Citizen, we're thinking about the persistent universe. They don't say, this is how much money was raised for Squadron 42. Okay.
And also the media also always say, like, and it's still in development. It hasn't been finished yet.
Yeah, you said the road to realize wasn't that the PU. I remember those different road to videos were done at Citizen Cons. But they weren't in relation to, they still weren't in, and let me tell you this, I'll tell you why I tell you was Squadron 42. For those of us who went to the 2016 CitizenCon, Fastcart was there, I was there. That was when we were supposed to see the vertical slice of the game. We were supposed to see it that year, that now we're going to see, and when they put the vertical slice out, the intention was, we're going to announce the release date for Squadron 42. And Chris came out on the stage that year and said, it ain't where we want it to be. We're not going to show it to you. And that was the heartbreak for everybody, because at that point it was like, okay, it ain't happening no time soon. Okay.
But I still had fun because of the community and meeting a whole bunch of faces, different faces to name and stuff like that. So it was heartbreaking for that in that aspect, but it more than made up for the experience of just seeing everybody there.
Yeah, and the road to release was built around Squadron 42 more than
and that came out. I want to say a month after CitizenCon.
Yeah, and it was not for Star Citizen. Yeah, I know it's kind of crazy, right? But like I said, the lines get blurred on those. Okay, let's get Admiral in and we're going to get ready to wrap it up because my voice is going sick already. Okay. Admiral, you there?
Yes, sir, I am.
What you got for us, buddy?
What are your thoughts, man?
You going to buy a Titan?
Hell no, I don't want to buy a Titan. So first off, if for those lucky few who decide to jump into Soul Citizens Discord, we had a time on Soul Citizens After Dark, which just means we just kind of chat after these shows. And one time we ended up, I believe it was during that period, we watched, one of these, Star Atlas videos, and we should watch the CEO talk his bullshit about what his game was going to be and all this other stuff. But watching you guys talk about this, it reminded me of that guy, and I had to do some research while you guys were talking, who took that it was an infectious drug that was a 62-year-old drug. It used to cost $13.50 a pill, and then it went to $750. And he got remember that guy a couple of years back? And so So he had a $3,600 no, that's the wrong one. So he had a 4,500% increase in price. And when you look at, say, a Javelin compared to the $100,000, you took like $2,700 for a war bond, and you go to the $100,000 for that stupid city ship, which is like $100,000. That's $3,600% increase. Like, that is complete fraud. Like, to think that it just blows me away. It's price gouging to the absolute extreme. If I have $100,000, I'm gonna go to spend on a spaceship. I'm gonna go to like Bermuda or a couple times a year. I'm gonna go to. I'll have maybe $1 million Titan I hear. I'll just go to the Smithsonian and have a wing named after me. Why would I? Why would I need to do this?
I even joked around and said you could buy your own development company for $1 million, but here's the deal. Let me give you the real sides of that, Admiral. When they put those ships out, they made millions of dollars. They made like 30, 40, 50. There were other companies that invested in them. I think they've gotten up to maybe 60 million or something like that in. There were people who felt it was worth it, that felt that it was, and whether it was because of the investing or what, the cool ships, I don't know.
NFT. NFT is like the new thing. These are NFTs. And oh my God, we have to get in that. We've got millions of dollars to spend, and we could probably get tax rebates by investing in another company because it's it's a startup.
I agree. I agree that there was a lot of fervor. The NFT thing, they definitely rode that wave while it was there because they haven't been bringing that money in because the ship, you can go on the blockchain and stuff and you can see how frequently ships sell on there. And as I mentioned earlier, ships that were running for $3,000, let's say if it was running for $5,000, before the collapse happened with FTX, they had dropped down from $5,000 to maybe $2,800, $2,900. And of course, the market changes, and maybe they'll ride it out and sit it out and wait. We don't know when that will happen. But to me, the volatility is dangerous. My question, let me ask you this, Admiral. Do you think that this last-ditch, it's not going to say last-ditch piece, it just seems like it. Do you think this effort of them selling Titans will be something that people will spend the money on? Even though the market is really funny right now, it's the holidays, or do you think that even if they do this, Star Atlas is bound to not make it, not survive?
To me, this is an act of desperation because they're crazy cash poor right now. And if this came out, when they were doing well, a year or two ago, then they could have easily probably sold it for I don't know if it was maybe people would have bought it for $250,000. I think $1 million is just they have no cash. They need the money right now. And if you look at even when them opening the doors, if you look at it, you can see the wallpaper kind of spread out. So it's not even this isn't even a finished product. It's just this little thing. And you showed us going into the hangars of Star Atlas, and it's hilarious. You clip through the actual ship, and it's just like a gray box. When we had the hangar module for Star Citizen, way back in its infancy, you could open up the freelancer, you walk up the ramp, you could touch stuff, things you could actually click this to do stuff. It's just night and day, and they're giving Star Citizen crap. It's disappointing for the I guess space community, the people who were really hoping they could do something like an Eve, but much greater improved Eve, because that's how I kind of see something like this. The ships they've been selling. But I just think that there's no way I would be it would be if you went to your accountant and said, and you were a millionaire, you had $20 million, say you were a billionaire, and you're hey, you think it'd be a wise idea to do this? They'd be absolutely not. So I don't know who the hell they're trying to get to buy the ship.
And Apple, I'm going to push back a little bit. If they had sold these ships to Titan a year ago, that would have just mean they would have lost even more money today, this week than they did.
Wow.
It's a very cool design. I give them that. But again, we lost some Star Citizen people, the girl who went and made the MSR to them. So it's a very interesting design, and it's just, I just don't think it's going to see the light of day.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something
And
else, Admiral. I'm concerned about the tech. I didn't give you the specs on this ship. This ship is supposed to be 4 kilometers long.
Right. And I think Eve Online is like 3 kilometers for Titan. So yeah,
So
4 kilometers for
I
and
just
$1 million.
I just want to see them create the tech. I know they're using Unreal 5, but that's still not proven as to what its capabilities are in an MMO scenario. Man, I mean, look at the hurdles that
Like-
CIG is having. You know what I mean? CIG is
Yeah.
having its own issues, and when you talk about a ship that's 4 kilometers long,
But you look at like Eve, right? Look at Eve, like, oh, this Titan is this long. It's like one person controls
one
that
person
ship.
controlling it,
It
right?
doesn't matter. All you do is changing the scale, so it's like, oh, this is 20. This could be like the size of a moon. It wouldn't matter because only one person's using
But this
it.
one, but they're doing their ships like us, where we can walk through them. That's why I'm saying a 4-kilometer ship is. I don't even know
Griffin.
how they'll do
And
it.
they can't even. We can't
To
even
be
put the
fair,
javelin
Griffin.
together. Come on.
Yeah, Griffin, to be fair, the Reproduction is 2,700 meters long.
Yeah, but it's NPC based.
And how will
We ain't flying. We ain't
Reproductions
flying
done?
it. That ain't nothing but a JPEG, as far as I'm concerned. I'm talking about ships. I'm talking about ships that you can get out and walk around in with all the
Alright.
metrics and everything else inside of them. I mean, maybe eventually. Don't get me wrong, fastcart. You're right. Maybe eventually they will build that out. But I'm saying, like right now, the freaking what's the thing called? What's the carrier?
Oh, the Bengal carrier.
The Bengal carrier's in the game right now,
You know,
right?
that's
But the internals.
855 meters.
Yeah, but my point is the internals ain't there for us, so we ain't got to worry about that. But they're trying to make this a ship that you can walk through, walk around, and everything else. And that's one of the problems that Elite Dangerous had, right? Creating the internals. Yeah, creating the internals is the issue, and it's no small task. But you're talking about a freaking 4-kilometer long ship. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure when they concept this thing that they had the internals thought up. I hope they did.
no, I'm saying they're not in. I'm just saying they're not in.
Yeah.
Oh, don't get me wrong.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They're going to develop the interiors and stuff. I'm just saying it's one thing to make a ship and you're just flying around on the exterior. It's another thing when you have to be able to walk around on that thing, you know.
It goes back to this. The guy be watching that video. The guy, the CEO. I'm not gonna call him out, but he seems like a BS artist because that and the fact he had no idea like what it takes to actually do this. Because Chris Roberts, I think from day zero has always been, this is what we're trying to do, bada bada ba, and it's always, everything has never been like pulled back a little bit. Everything has been increasing incrementally to what we can do in the game in the future due to technological change and advancement over the period of 10 years that we've been watching this thing. So this thing here, I mean, what is this, like a 2097 like release date? I just don't understand like when they're supposed to do something like that.
Yeah. All right, we got to get ready to run because I got to wrap it up. Admiral, thank you so much. FC, if you wouldn't mind, get folks ready for next week and stuff, and I'll be right back, okay?
Okay, and sorry, face to face. Yeah, we ran out of time, but thank you. We'll try to pick it back up after the show. But yes, we have tomorrow's show on Soul Citizens, 8 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. UTC. We're talking about IAE 2952. You got a little bit of preview at the beginning of Soul Voices, but tomorrow we come completely about IAE, what our thoughts are, what manufacturers we like, money, what kind of money we spent, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's gotta be tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. UTC. And then join us on Thursday for Soul Talk. I almost said the wrong name, but Soul Talk at 9 p.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. UTC. That's where we come in and talk about what's going on in the Star Citizen community for that week. We normally cover SCL. There was no SCL this week, so we won't have that. But we'll cover ISC and whatever else happened since Sunday until Thursday in regard to IAE. And I think that's it, right?
I guess that's it. Yeah.
Oh no! The Bar Citizen.
Oh yeah, I didn't. You know what? I didn't have the Bar Citizen stuff up here, but we can. Somebody can put it in chat. Don't forget December 3rd, guys. Next weekend are going to be the upcoming virtual Bar Citizen, and we're going to be having that. Fastcart, you read it. I can pull the graphic up for it real quick because I want to put the barcode up for folks. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, the Bar Citizen is Saturday, December 3rd, noon to 4 p.m. We're going to have 2 sessions. The first one is noon to 4 p.m. Eastern, and then after that, I'm looking for the link, so I don't have the UTC up there. But then after that, we have an hour later, at 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, we're having a late session, and that's more for people who wake up later. And yeah, and that is 5 p.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern. That is for Boy Citizen next week, this Saturday, December 3rd.
There you go. Awesome sauce. Okay. Well, listen, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. We appreciate you. Those of you who are on YouTube, thank you guys always for hanging out. Those of you on Twitch, those who came in and gave us some good responses to the topics today, we appreciate all of you as well. And to my partner, Fastcart, my co-host, man, thank you so much for helping you. You know, you helped me out today big time.
It's been fun.
You know, I had a transitional day. I'm not at home today, but we figured out a way for me to do it remotely. So we got everything done. Look forward to you guys. Hey, enjoy the rest of IAE. Don't spend all your money. Tomorrow you can buy everything, so only back if you're trying to support the development of the game. Otherwise, there'll be another IAE next year, so you can, save your money for the holidays.
And Griffin, the Astropub is live.
Astropub is live. That's even good news. Okay, as you guys know, this is also our Podsat day, right? So we are going to, where's my Podsat thing? It didn't come up. That's crazy. Where's Podsat? It's not there. All right, well, so much for that. I thought I had it here. But we're going to go ahead and get you guys set up to raid the Astropub. Did we already talk about that?
No, we didn't.
We did or didn't?
IE, yes, we did.
No,
not
Astropub.
Podsat.
Okay, Podsat. Okay, Podsat Saturday. We're going to send you guys over to the Astropub. Paul Shelley, hang out with him for the captain's table. After that, you'll be going over for Relay if you want your full day of Star Citizen information. As always, we tell you guys, take care of yourselves, stay healthy, peace, love, and soul, and we will see you very soon. Take care. Have a good weekend.